I don't want to do it, which doesn't make a ton of sense, but I just like don't want to. Pretty rough for the victors of the world.
Classic victors, to be honest.
They do put out an evacuation warning.
What they put out.
I also don't know if I'm going to peak or not tonight. Let's find out today. Let's turn myself down just a smidge
We've all
to
been
avoid
wondering.
I've been wondering too.
I'm peaking, guys. I'm peaking.
Dan's peaked.
So this is it.
All right. Let's see.
He's knocked. He's knocked. He's knocked.
+2/+2. This man's cracked.
Have I?
So the other day at work, I said, "Can I get a
love that
shout out
guy.
for blank in the chat?" Because somebody said, "Oh yeah, shout out to whatever they said," and they just stared at me and they're like, "Chat, what are you talking about?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, that's an inside joke that it doesn't make any sense. I just lied. There's no point in trying to explain Twitch to this person."
No.
So I'm just
very
like,
funny though.
"Yeah, my bad. That's an inside joke that doesn't make any sense. It's not even that funny. Never mind."
They said -2.
Yeah.
Get roasted.
L plus ratio.
I'm so glad that -2 has just like gotten everywhere on Twitch.
It's so good.
Because like the world needs as much Germa as it can get.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that's where it came from.
Oh yeah, it's a from an old, not an old, but like from a Germa stream.
I feel like Germa is like one of those like underground, ridiculously influential people in the Twitch community.
I feel like he's not even that underground, but like yeah, he's definitely like I mean he's got the production value.
I would say he's an underground influential member of the internet as a whole.
Yeah, maybe
but Twitch, he's definitely bigger than I think he thinks he is.
And maybe that's it. Is that like I know a lot of people who really like him, whatever. I know a lot of people who watch him consistently. I have never just gotten into him at all. But I feel like people don't acknowledge how much, or maybe he doesn't acknowledge how much influence he has over like internet culture as a whole. Because like there's so much dumb internet content out there that is actually just German content.
Like the red sex post.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
That's actually just what every serial killer combined looks like.
Oh, my bad. I confused that with German.
That was a composite image made by the FBI.
God, I love that so much.
And yeah, he happened to be wearing a red sex shirt.
I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast, but we did that. I fucking adore just shouting things as if they're try hard call outs. I think that's like in the same vein as
for me.
What's a try hard call out?
Like shouting, oh, he's knocked, he's down.
Oh, okay.
Like
okay.
reloading,
really fun,
reloading.
Yeah.
Like
I love doing that.
Just screaming it as loud as possible is hysterical to me. And
no, you're right.
There's nothing funnier than being a tryhard, ironically.
Exactly. No, exactly. Like, and as somebody who does accidentally fall into that from now and again, it's even funnier to me when to do it ironically. We had an entire Twitch stream back when we did a drunk gunfire game with me and High and Cap, and like for no joke, I think 3/4 of the stream we would just like that was the bit. It was so fucking funny.
I do that every time I play like Valorant.
Exactly.
Which is like once a year, but I'll play like a game and the whole time I'll be like, okay, he's on me. As I'm doing nothing.
He's going mid.
Yeah, as I'm just standing still.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get like one tapped in the head and I'm like, okay. I'm moving.
I'm down. Hit for 10.
See, I didn't even know that was a Germa thing.
No, not that.
No.
+2,
okay.
-2.
Yeah, +2, -2.
I didn't know that was a Germa thing either, if we're being honest.
I didn't either.
It's a Germa classic.
I only have ever known of it as
I think he was playing. It was Just Cause or one of the like games like that. You know, it was either like Just Cause or one of the Far Cry games, something similar. I don't even remember. But he had this thing where the stream was however long it was, and then when he and his co-host who was Stir, when either of them made a joke. If it was a good joke, chat would say +2 and they would add 2 minutes to the timer.
Oh my
if it was a bad joke, they'd say -2 and the stream would be 2 minutes shorter.
That's amazing. That's such
so
a
the
great
stream
concept.
as it went on, every time they did something good or funny or cool, they would be getting +2s and they would make the stream longer. And then every time they would fuck up, it would be -2s.
That's an amazing concept for a stream, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
I do love that.
It's really funny.
I really wish I had the audience to do things like play until like whatever. Mike, I don't know if you've ever met Mike Noah, but
I've seen his streams.
Yeah, Mike does those every now and again because he actually has enough of an audience to do so, and I adore them so much. He used to do a thing where he would have pizza time, which I think is still funny, and want to do something like it, where if people threw enough money at the stream, he would just order a pizza and they'd watch pizza-based commercials for like 20 minutes.
That's so stupid, and I do love that.
I love it so much. It is exactly the right kind of stupid that's perfect for Twitch. That's not what we want to talk about today.
No, not
I mean,
really,
we
but I
had
mean, it
time.
works.
No, it did.
Yeah, it's not like
No,
we're like,
but
oh god.
I wanted to. I did because otherwise I'm going to forget everything we were talking about before we started rolling.
Okay, so I'll take it from here, Dan. Don't you worry. I just finished Cyberpunk for the second time this morning. The first time around, my game glitched and gave me the wrong ending. So this time, I took the ending into my own hands and played a patched version that actually didn't glitch and give me the wrong one. You know. Cyberpunk's been out for a hot minute now, so I'm going to give broad strokes details. So there's 6 endings to Cyberpunk. A little content warning here. There's some stuff that happens in it. I don't know how would you put it, Jackson? I'm running out of words out of nowhere.
I mean, it's just a content warning for
Sensitive topic.
self-harm to, I suppose, what would be considered the highest degree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's 4 paths that you can take into the end of the game, and then there's 2 endings that you can get from that. The first path is you side with the Arasaka Corporation, which is widely regarded as the bad ending. Not bad because it's not fun.
I mean,
but bad because it's definitively like you're siding with the bad guys for that one. There's siding with the Nomads, which means they storm Arasaka HQ with you. There's siding with Rogue, which means her crew storms HQ with you. There's content warning ending where you just opt out, shall we say?
Nice.
Which is, it's hinted at as a possible ending for the whole game, but it's definitely not the ending you're supposed to take. It's more like, and yeah, it's here too. But then there's the secret ending, and the secret ending you have to queue up for a solid like 30% of the game.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work to get there.
Which is honestly, I think it's really cool.
Yeah, for a secret ending, it's great.
You get to the point where where Johnny's sitting there with you, and you have to decide what you're gonna do because you are dying. The chip that Johnny Silverhand lives on is corrupting your brain and taking over your body, and you're not gonna make it much longer. So he sits there and says, "Okay, who you going with? Are the Nomads gonna help us, or is Rogue gonna help us?" And that's like you're just sitting there waiting. And if you sit on that menu for 5 minutes, he says, "Yeah, it really sucks to choose what friend's gonna come die with you, doesn't it? Anyway, I have a secret option for you. I'm already dead, so it doesn't matter what happens, and we can just go out together in a blaze of glory." And that's the ending I went with this time.
It's also a bitch of a final fight too, from what I.
So you
what I
just
heard.
like go crazy,
Yeah,
because like your body's disintegrating.
Yeah, that's like the core concept of the game, and in this final ending, you basically like embrace. I think it's literally called "Don't Fear the Reaper" is the quest.
it is. Yeah, and you go out alone, just you and Johnny attacking the place. It streamlines a lot of the story because honestly, as long as you play it careful, you're gonna be fine. Bring a lot of healing items and heal promptly, and you'll be okay. But if you die at all in the mission, credits roll immediately. You can't reload and try and fix it.
Yeah, you have to reload back to like the pre 5-minute wait time.
Yeah. Except for mine, which for some reason had an autosave in the middle of the mission because you can't save. But for whatever reason, an autosave spawned me in the middle of it. And I'm like, thank goodness. I have a second chance.
That's actually so good.
It's really funny.
Because
sometimes the bugs are actually good.
Immediately entering the final boss fight.
That'll do it.
I got him down to 30% with laser grenades as soon as he opened the door. But then he turns invincible for a minute. And I'm like, oh no, I'm in a bad space. And I got gunned down by his goons that entered the room. But then the second time, he didn't glitch and stop taking damage. And I just killed him with laser grenades.
When in doubt, just keep dumping grenades at the enemy until they aren't the enemy anymore.
Yeah, basically. But that's, in my opinion, that's the funnest ending because you go out together. But then you get to the end of the game and you can make 2 choices. One, you return to your body as V. But because of how much Johnny Silverhand's the magic chip he lives on, the magic computer chip, has overwritten your body's like DNA and everything. You are no longer able to support yourself. It sees you as the invader and tries to get rid of you. And it puts a 6-month death timer on you. It's like, yeah, you got the next 6 months, but then you're going to die.
And there's just nothing to be done.
Can you actually play the game at that point?
Yeah, you get one final mission. Or...
And the game's just like the whole time like, hey.
Yeah, it's it fast forwards you to 6 months in the future, where you're taking like one last big mission. I think you go and you rob a space casino.
You do rob the space casino.
There's-
It's the thing I talked about months and months ago about the one thing that I really wanted out of the game because they hint at it a couple of times that there's a space casino.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the final mission is you fucking put on a space helmet and go into the casino. And I love that. I think that fucks.
And then, you know, game fades to black and you get the credits where all your friends are calling you and leaving you voicemails saying how much they miss you. And
But you're in space.
well, you die during the mission. Is the
Or
the
right
implied
after
ending,
it.
you know. But you know, you go out a legend just like you always wanted to. The alternate option is you give the body to Johnny because Johnny will not die in 6 months. You know, he's not, the body's his now, and you can choose to do that instead. And it really just shows Johnny being really beat up about how like you gave up your life for him, because at that point you two have had a lot of missions where he like apologizes for being a real piece of shit. So the idea is that, and we'll talk about this in a second because I know Dan has a lot of opinions on this one.
Yeah.
The idea is that you're friends now if you follow this kind of storyline.
And it's
And
a redemption
so-
arc for Johnny. Like that's what
It
it's
is a
designed to
redemption
be.
arc. This is the ending I tried to do the first time, but I walked into across the light bridge to sacrifice myself, and it killed him instead. So I'm sitting here googling, how do I do this right? How do I do this right?
Oof.
How do I not accidentally kill this guy?
Well, that's the thing is like I did the exact same thing as last time, but I got the different ending, and I was so stressed out about it. I didn't want to have to play the ending mission again. But instead, you know, everything worked out like it was supposed to. And Johnny ends up, you know, he's living in this little shithole apartment, and he's leaving Night City for good. He's made a new friend, and he's like, hey, you could be a real rocker, kid. You just have to write from the heart, you know, learn that music, have a good life. And then he vanishes, you know, he goes
He hops
off
the
to some
train
other
and,
part.
Yeah, fucks off.
Yeah. And all the credits, like voicemails that you get on that one is he just ghosted your entire like friend group and family. And because I mean, like, what do you expect to happen? You know, it's not like he could actually keep up those relationships for
It's
you.
not his friends. Yeah.
Exactly. So everyone is just like, hey, V, don't know where you're at, but, you know, give me a call back. We're having a memorial dinner for your friend who died and stuff like that. You know, like a bunch of real, like, bummer stuff. But then you get a call from the one person he told what happened, who is Rogue, the person
Yeah, I
you
was
could
gonna
do
say
the ending
Rogue.
mission
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
And she's just like, hey, you fucking piece of shit. How does it feel to have someone die for you? I don't know how you can live with yourself like this. You fucking suck, man. I bet you're just laughing at her now while you drink cheap tequila and booze it up all the time. You piece of shit. Never speak to me again.
That's amazing.
And because he never
I
calls
would
her
say
back
that.
to talk about it, you know, she doesn't actually know what all happened. And
I love
besides, because Rogue experienced Johnny in his fiery youth days as a domestic terrorist, she has no reason to believe that he changed it all, you know?
Mhm.
And
Wow.
that's that ending. And it's, I don't know, I
People
just
can change.
I
hit
think
that today, and I think it's a really
I think it's the most
a really
compelling
fun
ending.
ending. It definitely is.
I think it's the most compelling ending for sure. Although I really do like the idea that like one of the endings is just, if I'm not mistaken, one of the endings is just go join the fucking AI verse. Essentially, I'm pretty sure that's part of the corpo ending is you can just fuck right out of your body.
Oh, Mark Zuckerberg finally gets the metaverse.
Yeah,
He's always
finally gets
talking
the
about.
metaverse.
Yeah,
he wanted, yeah.
you're the Mark Zuckerberg metaverse.
No,
Oh, thank
it's
God. That thing's taking off any day now.
so soon. It's gonna blow up.
Any day now.
But no, that's technically the Johnny ending. Is that's what you opt to do? Is
Oh, I thought you die. I didn't think
no, you
you
cross over
okay.
into the AI
into the AI
land.
verse. Okay, that's
Yeah,
cool then.
it's you cross over or Johnny crosses over, and there's a chance that one of you will survive if you cross over, or not. Which I think is just them trying to like set up for a sequel. The because all the endings are really ambiguous about how they play out.
I mean, I think that if they do a sequel, there's no way they're gonna do V. Like, there's
No,
no
not
way,
at all.
like
There's
or
not a
John-
single chance.
There's no way they're gonna do V. They're not gonna do the Johnny thing again. They really kind of did set this up as a very self-contained story, which I do appreciate. I appreciate games that aren't like sequel baiting.
Mhm.
The world is sequel bait, but the game itself, like they have plenty of room to add. Like, oh hey, yeah, you remember this character from the first game? Wasn't that cool? But not that you really can't do anything else with V or Johnny's story.
No, it's a nice contained ending. It's the only thing that's ambiguous is what happens to the characters themselves.
Yeah,
But you get
Which
a
is-
lot of like snippets about what's happening out in the world, which would lead to a great sequel. There is actually a paid DLC story set coming right now.
I know. I'm excited for that. I'll probably
I'm
play it
pretty
again when that
stoked.
comes out. And they are working on a sequel. Like they confirmed that a while ago.
I hope that they don't do what they did this time around.
And
And-
hire massive celebrity and spend all their money on that instead of making a good game. Got him.
Kinda, yeah.
No, I mean, it's a good game. I enjoy it very much. But I do want to talk about Johnny because I find Johnny. So I was talking about it before we went live. I find Johnny to be such a fascinating character. I think he's really well written. I think he's well acted. I also hate how much the game, in my experience, wants you to like him or wants him to be a redeemable character. Because I don't. I think he's such a massive piece of human garbage that I didn't give a shit about giving him a redemption arc at all.
You know, I feel like you kind of like wound that one up like you were trying to like tread lightly, and then you're like, you know what?
I did.
Fuck him.
No, that's exactly what I did. That is exactly
No,
what
I
happened there.
respect it. I'm here for it.
He's just such a massive douche and is an actual, for real, genuine domestic terrorist that set off a nuclear bomb in the heart of a city. Like, an actual, for real nuclear bomb.
It was just a little one. It just leveled a tower.
It was wait.
Noah!
They make nuclear bombs that take out one tower.
Noah!
The future's
I'm pretty sure it was
crazy.
a makeshift nuclear bomb. I don't think it was like a. I don't think it was a professional grade. I don't think they got it military.
Yeah, it was a hobbyist nuclear bomb, actually.
But like Noah, you can't.
like,
that's not an
They paint
excuse.
miniatures.
Noah.
You know, I do agree with you that setting off a nuclear bomb in a city is an act of domestic terrorism. I think that the world of Cyberpunk is a little different.
It is. Oh, and there's something to be said for that. And I think that there's a non-zero argument of like, in this world, he's far from the worst person that you even interact with like regularly, right?
Mhm.
And he's
Isn't Rick Ross in the game?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's your first mission guy, actually.
Incredible.
But I just like, because we were talking about like Johnny does like, so the very first chance Johnny gets, like you get Johnny in your body, he treats you kind of he treats you very shitty at the beginning, actually.
No, he's for context on that front, just as he is aware of the time that has been spent where he's been stuck in limbo because
so
they
he's got a
keep
chip on
bringing
his
him
shoulder.
out and experimenting on him, then putting him back.
Yeah.
So he's aware of time passing to an extent, and has not handled it well.
Yeah, 100%. It's understandable.
How long has it been?
50 years?
It has been 50 years that he has been stuck in techno limbo in cyber jail, where his soul was ripped out of his body.
In a good or a bad way?
In a bad way.
way.
It's a really it's implied to be like a living. It's very I have no mouth and I must scream.
Maybe next week he'll get it.
But yeah, but the fact that the very first thing he does as soon as he gets like even a modicum, an ounce of control over the situation he finds himself in, is to full on just take your body on a joyride is it's so unbelievably irredeemable to me that him apologizing later and he's like, oh, don't listen, V, if it comes down to it, I'll sacrifice myself and you just go on living. Go fuck yourself. I was gonna do that anyway. That was never in question, my guy. Like,
but here's the thing. He does go on a joyride, but the joyride was started by him saying, "Hey, I need to contact this person and hit up my contacts, make things happen. Can I take your body for a ride on this?" And then
you
he
can
just
tell him no.
You tell him no?
You tell
You
him
can
no, and he
tell
does it
him no.
anyway.
Okay, well there's options. It's a game with dialogue options so you can, but he does the same thing either way?
Yes.
Okay, then that's more of a developer problem.
Yeah, man, I
Sure.
told him yes, and he did it.
Sure, I told him no, and he does it anyway, and like he's just like, cool, you don't have a choice in this. Like,
I do hate fake choices in games.
I'll give you fine, sure, fake choice, but it also is very in character for him to be like, yeah, you don't have a choice in this. Fuck you. Like that. I think that is. I don't necessarily think that's necessarily a developer thing. I think that's a character decision.
Okay,
In my opinion.
I do need to make it clear that I don't think that Johnny in game is a good person.
No, oh no, he's a monster.
I think he's the best person I've ever met. So
No, and I agree with you, and I will go back to like saying I think that he's so well written and so compelling as a character, but he's a villain. Like he is a villain.
he's my best friend. So.
I do not agree with you, Dan.
I love that you don't agree. Like this isn't like a meme. Like I'm actually glad. Like it makes better conversation.
So let me try explain my
The case
my
for
take
Johnny
on this one.
Silverhand.
I don't have a case for Johnny Silverhand. I have a couple opinions of Johnny Silverhand.
Yeah.
But
I think he didn't do anything wrong.
no,
so true. Many people are saying
tower,
this.
That tower was full of corpos. They deserved it.
Yeah.
Okay, Dan, you can't drop opinions that I low-key agree with as a meme.
Noah, you can't say that.
No, okay.
But our
Here,
Not
let
all
me.
corpos are evil. By definition, some people are just what the accountants? You killed the accountants,
Dan.
Noah.
Hey, I'm just happy to have a day where Dan is fighting for humanity good. I just wish it wasn't about a video game. Cause like, man, come on. Come on. Why can't we do that for real people sometimes?
It's
Listen.
okay, so in the alternate universe of Cyberpunk,
Yes.
all right, this is not me saying anyone should blow up corporations at all, okay?
Mhm.
I need to get my legal disclaimer out there. But I cannot apply my world's morality to a world where it is expressly said that corporations would literally murder every single person for an extra penny
Yeah, of course.
and like
But
all this
think
kind
all
of
the
stuff. I'm not
pennies.
saying what Johnny did was right, but I am saying there's no way in hell that I'm going to side with a corporation on this one.
Here's the thing. I don't mind that Johnny blew up the tower. That's not my problem. My problem is
That so far has been the only problem you've listed.
my problem is the collateral damage that comes from that.
Yeah,
Like,
I
those
would
are-
like to also
Those
say
are
they
so many like
they literally in that mission, you may have missed this, and this isn't me trying to be like, you missed this, Dan, like as a weird dunk. They do put out an evacuation warning,
Oh, they put out.
like when they
Don't say
enter
that
the
anymore.
tower.
No, I do remember that, Noah, but like you can't drop a new like there were still like millions of deaths canonically, were there not?
Not millions.
How big was
How-
this tower?
Huge.
It's like a mega skyscraper kind of thing.
When Arasaka blew up. Let's see. Okay, it's fine. In 2077, cited the initial death toll was around 4,000. Fine. There are 4,000 people that died.
So it wasn't that big of a skyscraper.
I mean, it's still a pretty fucking big skyscraper.
I mean, I guess.
It's pretty big, I guess.
I'm just saying, if someone blew up like the
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't say that sentence, but if somebody blew up like the biggest building in the world, I feel like more than 4,000 people would die.
Yeah, sure. And it literally says, here it is. The terrorist warning came too late. Not all of the towers on the Cyberpunk wiki. Not all of the tower's employees could be evacuated. The blast itself killed and wounded thousands, while countless others died from radiation sickness.
Mm-hmm.
That
Okay.
the tower going, 100% here for it. Like, fuck corporate property, fuck the corporations, but like you can't tell me that like those employees necessarily deserve to die because of the company that they worked for. I don't think that Amazon delivery drivers deserve to die because Jeff Bezos is a piece of shit.
But okay, I'm cutting this. We're not anyway.
I'm just saying there are support staff that come with the territory.
Yes. What I am saying is that this is a character who, after he does this, is introduced to the concept of basic empathy because he's been too angry and disillusioned his whole life. This does not excuse what he's doing, but like greater context of character, he's also like a military vet who
Yeah,
got fucking screwed over
got
in a
stuff.
bad way.
Yeah.
And like,
There's no way that would happen in America.
it
No,
would never
not-
happen in America.
not-
Thank goodness
not
that
in-
part is made up and not real at all.
Correct.
I'm proud to be an American.
Fuck.
But you know, like people have extremist thoughts and viewpoints because extreme things happen to them, and that's what happens to Johnny in this game.
Yeah, of course.
And he gets so blinded by anger and hate that he just thinks that any price that is paid is fine. And over the course of the game, stuck in your head, he realizes that that was actually not right.
Yeah, no, of course. But I think that I agree with everything you're saying, and then the final take of but I give Johnny my body anyway is where I think I draw the line, because I think that it's absolutely right that like yeah, he is that's why I think he's such a well-written and compelling character, because he's radicalized, right? Like he's radicalized by the things that happened to him, he's radicalized by the world he lives in. But just because someone's been radicalized by this, just because you understand someone's situation doesn't mean you have to like excuse anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's my
I'm
problem.
not excusing him nuking a building.
But that's what he does. Like that's the character.
It's the ending of a video game.
Firstly, that. Secondly, this is like I believe that this is just a continuation of Dan says people can't grow and change, and Noah and Jackson say yes they can.
It's not. I didn't
No,
say
Dan actually directly said people can grow and change in this context, and that was
Yeah, I literally said the exact opposite. First of all, second of all, I think you can grow and change and still have to like. You don't have to be forgiven just because you grew and changed.
I agree. I also am just willing to be like, yeah, let him take over the body at the end of the game if you're on your second playthrough. It could be
No,
fun.
of course, no, of course. And like I said, I do think it's the most compelling and interesting ending. Like truly, that doesn't mean I agree with it, but I think it's definitely the most compelling.
But see, in my mind, as I play through the game, all
Mhm.
right, Johnny has grown and changed as a person. You
Of
know,
course, yes.
Johnny is no longer the shithead radical that he
the
was.
cyber terrorist.
Yeah, okay, fine. He's no longer the cyber terrorist that he was. He's still very willing to do a lot of bad things to get his goals done. However, he's no longer going nearly as extreme in any direction as he had been before. He's willing to minimize the kind of damage he's outputting down to, hey, what if instead of getting my friends involved with this, what if, since we're on our way out anyway, what if we just tried to handle this ourselves?
Yeah.
You know? And we get that. Game ends, roll credits and all that. But like over the course of this, you grow closer to him. He understands like more of what everything is like. And he has his big conversation apologizing for what a piece of shit he was. And you can choose not to forgive him. And you can choose the cut Johnny out of your life ending if you want to.
Yeah.
But it
And
is also like an option as it goes on, being like, hey, like we'll see.
We'll see where
We'll
we get
see
to,
what
yeah.
happens. I think that we're actually like kind of buddies now, kind of ending.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I think that the character maneuver that makes sense at the end of this video game that means nothing because it's just a video game.
But I think okay,
Is
hold
that-
on. Let's back off just a tiny bit on that because I think that the fact that we are having this conversation means it says something about like air quotes like the human condition or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like there's something there that we care enough about that we're talking about it. So like yes, it doesn't matter, but also it kind of matters.
Actually, you have activated my trap card. This steamrolls right into my next topic I want to talk about. Ha ha ha.
Get bent.
But in my mind, with V only having 6 months left to live, and knowing that no matter what, everything is done in 6 months, no matter what happens, or Johnny gets a second chance to live at life, and maybe V gets to survive in cyberspace. It really sucks, but I think it makes more sense for that to play out that way than something different.
Sure.
Is V short for something?
Yeah, but I don't. Valerie, I think if you're a girl, and I don't know if you're a guy.
Victor. If you're a guy,
Victor.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
really know.
probably not Victor, but who knows? But yes,
Why not? That's a pretty common V name.
Well, it is, but there's another character named Victor in the game, and I think it would be really funny if 2 of the first characters you meet in the first 10 minutes of the game are named Victor.
No,
Yeah, that would be,
very funny.
Pretty rough for the victors of the world.
Classic Victors, to be honest.
Huge loss for the victors of the world.
But
No, I think that makes total sense for the you've grown to become friends over time. And I think that is probably where you and I separated. Is I was totally unwilling to become friends with him after the Joyride incident. I can excuse bombing a nuclear corporation. I can't excuse taking someone else's body for a joyride. Because to me that's such a, especially for him as a person, it's such a like, you of all people, Johnny, should know how important personal autonomy is, and it's insane to me that he just was like, "But go fuck yourself." I'm like, and it's not. And when I say
no, there's a lot early in the game where he's just like, "This is actually also my body, so you can fuck off and let me use it."
Yeah, it's also a lot of like, this is also my body, and the thing I need to do is way more important than whatever the fuck bullshit you're up to. So go fuck yourself. And I don't think that like. And again, I need to like emphasize. I don't think you're like I don't think there's like a bad person aspect to this of like, yeah, how could you possibly let Johnny run away with your body? I just think that he's, for the version of the game I played, like the way I played the game, he is such a monstrous person that it's not something that I could have even approached. Like, and I think that there's yes, there's character growth, but I think that it's so much after after you've done the shitty, like it's apologizing after the fact and then doing the shitty things anyway. Like he's still pretty fucking shitty to you even after he like apologizes.
I gotta be honest, I think that's part of that is because of the out of order storytelling that you can do in the game. I think
that might also be it,
not a linear enough story, because there are moments when we have been fine and then I do another mission where he's just really mad at me for some reason. Yeah. And I realized I was supposed to have done that mission before a different emotional break point between the two of us.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call that a writing issue.
I'll give you that.
you know.
I'll accept your writing issues.
But to slip this into my next conversation topic slightly.
Whoa.
That I activated the trap card for.
Exactly. I think that a lot of the story and the reason that I'm like really down with Johnny in general is because of the community aspect of having a dude live in your head and becoming friends with him. Really,
You can do that.
really works for me. I can really do that. It just takes a little bit more work in the real life versus in the video game.
Mhm. We can get you there.
We have the technology.
But I really like that. I really like helping someone change and become a better person because in real life, I like helping people change and become better people because I think that's actually like a really cool thing to be able to do with people. You
Wow,
know?
I can't believe Noah's savior complex is coming in.
Yep,
Wow.
yep. No, huge savior complex from Noah. Noah only ever wants to drag someone away from their own bad choices.
That's the only thing I know about Noah.
It's actually like when I talk about Noah, I'm like, yeah, I mean, Noah's pretty great, but God, that savior complex, it's just so much to deal with.
So true. Many people are saying this.
No, and I think that's a reasonable thing. And I think that like it is I think the part of the good writing of Cyberpunk, in among the sea of what is like some here and there's some garbage tier writing in this game.
Oh yeah. The fact that I have to listen to them say the word choom when they're talking
9
about
million
friends all the
times.
times.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
I hate fake made up slang when it doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, it doesn't make sense to you.
You had me at, I hate fake made up slang.
I think that like it's the part of the well written part of this game is the fact that you can view Johnny as the like you view Johnny as a companion by the end, and I view him as a parasite. And I think that both are completely reasonable reads on the character, right? Like an unwilling parasite maybe, but like quite literally he is inside your head and killing you from the inside. It's not his fault. That's just what he does. Like that's just the situation you find yourself in, but that is what's going on. But I think that it's such an interesting dichotomy that the game allows you to kind of have this conversation that we're having right now of like, is Johnny worth saving in a way, right? I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting and neat. And I think that overall, like the story is really well written. And like I said, the character is. I do think that Johnny is one of the best written characters in a video game in a long time. I think he's really, really well written. I think that he is really compelling. I also think he's a piece of shit. He's compelling in the way that like I don't have a good villain example, but insert good villain example here is well written. Like he has good.
That's such a good example.
He has good motivations that you almost agree with, and then
That's a good example.
Then you see his actions, and you're like, wow, okay, buddy. Or in Noah's case, you just fully drink the Kool-Aid. Full on just support domestic terrorism in a video game.
I have been reminded like 7 or 8 different times over the last like couple weeks that I actually have some quite extremist viewpoints that I didn't realize were extremist viewpoints. Not talking about blowing up a building. Once again, to be clear, not a meme, not trying to be like for legal reasons. I'm literally not. But also, it has happened to me multiple times where someone will say something that I'm like, internally, I'm like, yeah, I kind of agree with that. And they're like, can you believe people think like that? And I'm like, oh, damn, no, I can't believe a single person would ever think like that. But like,
oh, them's was the bad guys, huh?
Yeah, Unabomber sure does. I'm kidding.
No, I've been there. I've had that take before, or those similar like kind of moments of like, oh no. I don't know. I think that it's a good game. I'm really, 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 really excited for whatever they do with the sequel. Like,
I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be very cool.
I love the universe so much for the most part. There are I made the mistake of trolling through the wiki a while back, and whoo boy, it was a game that sure was written in the early 90s.
Without a doubt,
sure was written in the early 90s. Because oh my god, but I enjoy it very much. I enjoy the world. I think that it's really compelling. I think that they'll do something really cool with it in the long run if they get the chance.
Not knowing any of the things that you're specifically talking about, I don't mind that the world of Cyberpunk is kind of fucked up in the sense of it's the inevitable end of corporations running our lives instead of benevolent evil government type of situation where it's like when the bottom line is always money, it's always going to not be a good thing.
Yeah.
And
It is very late stage capitalism to the nth degree.
Mhm.
Um,
I do think it's really funny that in the 90s they thought, yeah, in the next 30 years this is going to happen.
or that
And
it's not unreasonable to have put this in the next 30 years.
yeah, and I personally will always love 90s sci-fi for being like, "Oh, in 2022." And then in reality the changes between the 90s and now is just that the exact same technology still exists but smaller.
Yeah. It has kind of the same thing as Shadowrun in that way, but I think that the difference is at least that Shadowrun is the same world if you just drop magic on top of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, aren't they made by the same people?
No,
Really?
no, not at all.
Wait, who makes Shadowrun?
Let me look. Shadowrun is made by, who's it published by? Catalyst Game Labs, FASA, who created Cyberpunk 2077. Actually, 2020, I think, is actually the, or Cyberpunk Red, is that what it is? Cyberpunk Red, Mike Pondsmith, and R. Telesorian Games. I do love that the first book was published in 1988 and it was Cyberpunk 2013. That's so funny.
And you just look at what actually happened in 2013. And it's like, oh.
Well, you know, I joke about how nothing much has changed from the 90s to now, but you know, if I think all the way back to like the 2010s, like early 10s to now, a lot has changed there too.
Yeah.
It just is very funny to me that they were like, and people will have fully functional robot prosthetics that are fully functional and normal. They're just robot. And we have gotten nowhere near that on any kind of, you know, anything on that front.
Yeah, but what if we did?
It would be pretty cool.
See?
Be pretty rad. If we would just let the corporations take over, we would have all this, obviously.
So true.
This is also the part where I admit to Noah that I did choose the Corpo start because I thought it was fun.
Oh, I did the Corpo start this time around because it was the last one I had to start with.
It's fun. I really like the Corpo start.
It's really interesting.
I think it's very funny to watch the character's entire life crumble around them in like a matter of seconds.
Yeah, because you backed the wrong person in a coup.
Yeah,
Well,
it's great. It's rad.
get ratioed, I guess.
It is. It is big. It is big time. Like, shouldn't have done it. That like dumbass.
Hindsight 2020. More like Cyberpunk 2020.
Damn. I can't
damn.
believe we really had a Cyberpunk 2020 of a time.
I had played, I don't know, I've said it before, I don't want to get too into it, but I have played a few hours of the game and I just did not have any semblance of fun.
I think it's valid, to be honest.
I wanted to. It just really, I don't like Western RPGs at all. Like, I just don't have fun.
Fair.
Like, I will play a Elder Scrolls or Fallout or whatever kind of game. I just don't really, like, I don't want to do it. Which doesn't make a ton of sense, but I just, like, don't want to.
I don't think that's unreasonable, to be honest.
Like, it's just the gameplay loop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you don't like the core gameplay loop, you're not gonna like the game. Like, that makes sense.
That is one thing that I noticed this time around is that the core gameplay loop does get a little bit boring for me. Also, I didn't realize that you peak out at level 50.
Oh, you didn't know? Yeah, that was actually one of my bigger gripes with the game. Was that, like, that's
How long does it take to get to level 50?
Oh, it takes a while. Like,
It takes a while. I got to the end of the game almost, and I hit level 50. Street cred, I hit level 50 before I hit level 15, if we're being honest. That type of stuff stacks up quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, player level, it took me a while to get there, but I was not ready to stop gaining, like, upgrade points.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where, like, you end up with, like, a bunch. It's kind of the Skyrim used to have this problem before they added in the prestige thing or whatever the fuck it's called, where you can keep getting, where you basically prestige your abilities and are able to gather more over time. But like, there's more content in the game than there are points to get all the content.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand it, like, from a, like, hey, you have to actually make choices that matter, right? Like, I think that's fine. I personally hate that in RPGs because I am very much I want to play a game one time and experience everything the game has to offer because I'm a greedy bastard and don't have 50 hours to devote to a game.
Well, I think what's weird about this game specifically is it does give you the option to respec, but you can only respec your tweaks. You can't respec your core levels.
Yeah, which is wild.
But anyway, the other topic I wanted to talk about, we talked about this a little bit after recording last week because I was in a super emo mood and wanted to talk about it. Which doesn't exactly connect to our Cyberpunk conversation, I guess, in the same way that I thought I could segue it. So I'm just gonna hard cut away from Cyberpunk
Put
to
the little beep
this.
in.
Understandable.
I
I have no idea what this is actually.
Yeah, I
so.
have no clue what the fuck we're about to talk about. I hope it's interesting.
am I the only one that remember? Never mind. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
So, I feel like, and I don't know if this is an America thing. I don't know if this is an evangelical church thing. I'm willing to blame all of the above. I
Okay.
am really bummed out at the fact that I have no connection to anything in my life.
Oh, I do remember this.
Yeah. Which is one of the reasons that I go so hard on being it's me, Italian Noah. I'm fucking Italian. Because I really like having some sort of connection to something and trying to like plug into like even just the cuisine of Italy by also being able to look and say, yeah, because I'm a quarter Italian, this is fun, has been really enjoyable for me. But I don't know how to get into any other culture like that. I feel like, and this is, it's one of those things where a lot of the push when people came to America was assimilate with America, forget your old country. This is America now, and be America.
Mhm.
Simultaneously, I know that this is an issue other countries have as well, where people try to move in the fast new direction and get rid of like the old stuff that holds them down,
The
kind of
old
thing.
ways.
And I know that the church as a whole does a lot to bulldoze away like superstitions and old beliefs of other like cultures and stuff.
Mm.
But I don't know, man. That's an issue I've been hitting a lot recently, is that I just never feel like I have anything that holds me down to anything. I just kind of feel like I'm floating around different scenes just as an
Observer.
observer. And I don't
Yeah, I
really
for
care
sure
for
get
that. You know?
I think you and I did talk about this super briefly. Was it last week?
Yeah.
We talked
Yeah,
about
we
this super
talked about it for
briefly.
like 5 minutes, and then you also had to go, and I was making you stay too late anyway.
No, it's fine. But I find it really. I think it's an interesting conversation because I don't experience that. Like I really don't feel that. Like I'm sure I do and don't realize it or whatever. But like I don't identify with like, oh, I don't feel like I'm part of like any specific culture or group because like I don't know. That's what I have. That's what I have like my online friends for, and that's what I have OTA for. And like, yeah, sure, it's not a culture that I think people would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense, right? Like, it's not like a an ethnic or shared necessarily like a shared history or like, hey, I don't have like a club that I'm part of or anything like that. But like in a way, I view like OTA. I view people that I have this shared history of like, especially in regards to like religious trauma. I view that as like the people that I belong with, air quotes. Um, but I don't think that I don't know. It's not something that I personally identify super well with. But that may just be because I don't know that it's something that I'm missing, if that makes sense.
I am sorry for uncovering the rock.
No, it's like it's just I don't know how to like. It's never something I've thought about, right? Like, I've never been like, oh, I don't, because I left the church and really like left the homeschool community, and that was what I wanted. Like I knew that's what I wanted to do, right, for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and so it really didn't. It's not that it didn't affect me, like but I didn't have tight ties to that. Like I didn't, you know what it is? I didn't have my identity in that at all,
Yeah.
and
I feel like I definitely did, and I know it definitely did.
yeah, I think that's where like that's why it's maybe a little harder for me to understand necessarily, and not in like again not in like a oh you're wrong for any of this. It's just not something that I've experienced. All that to say,
Yeah, it definitely is like staking a lot of your identity and most of your friends on the idea of like the church, and then no longer being a part of that is like rough
Mm-hmm.
because you are basically forcing yourself to lose most of the friends you've ever had.
Yeah, I think some of that could possibly be my much more recent exit than yours, Dan, because yours was a very intentional, and I feel like it's not that people pushed me out, but that at that point my own morals and like
yeah, you had to get
morals,
out.
I suppose, is like they pushed me out, but not intentionally. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, you just didn't believe.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like not to get too heavy, but like that's what happened to me, and that's hard.
yeah, it fucking sucks. Not a fan at all on that front, actually.
Cause like, yeah, if I could go back and change it so I never had like the feeling and like the fear of like, oh, I just don't believe this thing that my entire life is rooted around. Like if I could just not have had that happen, like, yeah, of course I would. Now I'm all the better for it, but it's way easier to like live your life when you don't change everything you've ever believed because you can no longer justify any of the things that you were taught are mandatory for existing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
It's a hard thing to do.
and Dan, you mentioned like online communities and stuff, and I don't know. I think a lot of this is also, we talked a little bit about like Twitter and like the death of Twitter before we recorded. But that's another reason that bums me out is that's like a spot where I feel like I have something going on, and I've not found a way to use Discord in a similar way because I feel like Discord, for me, I've always used Discord in a really personal way. Like I only join my friends' places. I don't know how to engage in a server that I'm not one of 20 members, even though I understand that like once you hit a certain point, no one gives a shit. You can engage in any conversation you want to. You can become
I could never.
No, that's the thing is I can't either. I don't understand how to engage in a larger server that way. It does not add up to me and I don't like it. But that's about it right now, you know what I mean? And I don't know. It's hard for me to get into like online communities too because I always feel like I'm just an observer on those as well. Not in a why don't you make me feel more welcome, Daniel, kind of way, but just in a I don't know.
Dan, what are you doing?
It always feels like I'm hanging out in friends of friends spot. You know what I mean?
I do get that a little bit.
Which happens in real life and stuff like that too. Like in the music scene when I was in an active band and stuff, I always felt like I was only there because Aria was there.
Mhm.
Like I wasn't there because I was going to be there anyway. I was there because Aria booked a gig and so I was there with the band and people knew who I was because I was in the band because I was standing up there for 3 hours,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel a little like impostery trying to come back into that scene at that point and being like, well, it's not really for me at that point. It's even though I have friends there still and people are happy to see me when I go out because like the last of my bands I really followed, they broke up kind of. They're on a bit of a hiatus. Shout out to Wasted Info, RIP. Half the members moved.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
That does make the whole
unlucky.
thing difficult.
Incredibly unlucky. It's stuff like that. It's weird. I don't know. Not to turn this into my like therapy dump session.
No, it's fine. I think that it's something
I'll
that
go
like
off.
people will. We are far from the only people in like the OTA community that have had kind of similar experiences. So like I think it's valuable to like talk about these sorts of things.
I don't know. It's a weird little
just-
spot to be.
It's almost a like, not to put words in your mouth. It's kind of a
Put words in
the
his mouth.
space doesn't feel like it's yours.
Mhm.
Like it's like you said, it's in like it's almost not infringing maybe, but being there because either you have to be there or you have expectations to be there or whatever. Not necessarily this is my space,
Mhm.
which is super interesting to me.
Almost feels like I'm allowed to be there, but I'm not like not for me.
Yeah.
Not invading, but like it's like you know what I mean?
Occupying.
I'm occupying the space, but I'm not even not welcome in the space. It's just that I'm not it's not for me. I'm just allowed to be there.
Yeah, interesting. I feel like this is one of those. I don't know because I'm thinking because you mentioned like other Discord communities, and I'm only in. Let's see.
If you can count how many servers you're in, I'm confused.
Yeah, no, I'm in a lot of servers.
I'm in like 5.
I'm in a shitload of servers, but like the main ones are Oda,
Oh, I don't know him. That's White Yoda.
the other
When's
friend,
that
the
bit coming
other.
back?
Oh, man, I miss White Yoda.
R.I.P. White Yoda.
The other big friend group that Noah, you've hung out with us for a little while. You've hung out with us before, but I think that's probably exactly the situation you're talking about, which is it's like you're there because I'm there, not necessarily there because
Yeah, I was there to join
You're
in
there.
a game night every now and then.
exactly. Gritmas and then the YTBM, which is the Minecraft server,
Mhm.
are really the only ones I engage with. Oh, and then Blazeball. But Blazeball, I think, is the one that you're talking about, which like that's a massive server. And yeah, I engage. Oh shit, I actually didn't check up on Blazeball this week.
See,
Anyway.
that's the concept, not the server specifically, but that is the concept I'm talking about, where it's like,
Yeah.
it's
That's
I
a
don't know
massive
what to do
server.
with that shit.
It's a massive server around a specific topic.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's like you do need like I don't like saying a club because that makes it sound like I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's another thing is I keep myself too busy to do real life social interaction things, and I know that's what's going to help me the most.
Yeah, it is.
Is
Yeah,
like doing
100%.
things with people in real life because I'm aware I can't connect over the internet like I can in real life, you
Yeah.
know.
If you
But
can't
I
connect in the
also
game,
I'm
connect in real
currently
life.
I'm editing 2 podcasts and I work a full-time job.
Yeah,
Um,
and then stream
a
every now and
full-time job.
again.
Well, that doesn't happen that often. I've mostly
Yeah.
dropped that. But because my job does not have a set schedule, I can't say, "Oh yeah, I'm free this day." Like it floats.
Here, I'm gonna say something a little weird, and you can take it or leave it as you wish.
Can't wait to leave it or take it.
Podcasts. The podcast is I think something that like I can at least point at. Like in all situations, as a podcast grows or a podcast community grows, Patreon, whatever, almost all of them end up hiring external editors. I'm not saying you should hire external editors. That's not at all what I'm doing. But I think that like maybe it's something to like talk with the other hosts or the community about like, hey, I need either I need someone else to pick up the editing more often, which you and I have talked about, and I am willing to do now that the fucking film edit that I've been working on for the last 6 months is done. Or B, like, there's money in the coffer. Pay yourself. Take a shift off of work and pay yourself for the 8 hours or however long you take
My guy,
doing.
I can't take time off work. I'm moving up toward a management position.
I mean, but you understand the concept.
No,
that
I
I'm
get the
leaning
idea that
towards.
I get the idea you're going for. And the other podcast I edit, the editing is going to be shifting away from me. So I will be back down to
Good.
1 podcast a week, which I mean, we've talked about this. It takes me maybe 3 hours to edit this podcast. It's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad. But that's still 3 hours. That's a lot of time. That 3 hours could be a D&D group. That 3 hours could be a month. 3 hours could be literally anything. Like
Mhm.
it's not a small dedication of time.
No,
Like, and
but
you can
it's more the issue when there's 7 hours of podcast editing or 8 hours
true
of
because that's
podcast
a full
editing.
8. That's a full shift basically. That has to be like relegated to time that you're not working on other projects. I don't know. It's hard. Time is something that like as I get older, it becomes harder and harder to figure out time. I started going back to therapy semi recently, and like that's one of the things that we talked about a lot early on was that like uh I only sleep these days about 4 to 5 hours a night, which is extremely unhealthy, terrible,
Mhm.
actually like killing me slowly. But the things that I do that keep me up, so late and get me back up in the morning are so vital to me that like I'm willing to take the sacrifice of I'm going to be sleep deprived, but at least I'll have my multiple D&D games. I will still be able to stream 3 times a week, like that kind of thing, because they matter to me and they give me the joy and in a way the sense of the community that I think you're talking about. Um, but that doesn't make it good. Like that doesn't make it the right thing to do, and I would never suggest that to people. But I do understand the idea of like I just don't have time to like hang with people in person
Mhm.
because I have kind of the opposite problem. I engage with people so much easier over the internet long term than I do in person. Like that's just how I've built my friend group for the last like 15 years. So it's a lot easier for me, but that doesn't. But even then, like I'm sacrificing friend groups, right? Like I haven't hung out with that other group that we were talking about besides the times that I play games with Cap on stream in like 3 months. And I don't know. It's just like time is really hard, and it's hard to like make that time work in your like in the way that you need it to. And I don't know. I wish I had better solutions as far as like because I think you're right. I think the answer is go hang out with people in person, right? Like I really think that like for you that is it sounds like that is the answer, but that's also like congratulations, that's the answer. Now how the fuck do you actually do it? You know what I mean? Like how do you make that kind of time?
Mhm.
And I don't that part I don't have the answer to. I don't fucking know. If I knew, I wouldn't
I
have as
just
many problems as I do have.
I just tell everybody no.
Well, and that is kind of the thing, right? Is that it becomes you gotta sacrifice stuff. You gotta moving, having someone else take care of the podcast editing for you is a big piece of that, right? Like that,
Mhm.
that will help, I think, quite a bit.
Yeah, I do like I feel like for me it's just it's really easy to get overwhelmed because like most people my initial response is to be like, "Yeah, sure," and try and make it work.
Yeah, same.
But like that's not worth like everything. Like the cost of that is too damn high.
Much like the rent in New York.
The rent is too damn high. No one has ever pointed that out.
Mhm. It's a brave statement
Whatever.
more people need to make.
I hope that guy's all right.
I don't know this reference. Sorry.
You didn't know
The rent is too damn high.
he
The guy.
ran for New York something. Jimmy McMillan.
Sounds like such a
The
fucking
entire
fake
political
That's such
thing
a
that he
fake
ran
gangster
on.
name.
He's the chairman and leader of Rent is Too Damn High party.
It's a good party.
It's a single issue party.
Mm-hmm.
True.
They were focused on mostly the rent
Mm-hmm.
The
Believe it or
musical.
not.
and the cost of it.
The musical rent, right? Is what we're talking about.
Believe it or not, the physical rent
money
that you pay.
to someone who does nothing for you.
Oh.
He was gonna try and run for president in the 2016
Oh.
election, but
Ugh.
he retired from politics and endorsed Trump.
Oof. Well, all right.
Oh, I guess
Well,
maybe he didn't always bat 1,000.
He tried to he tried to unretire and run for governor again,
Well,
but it didn't end up working out.
I wonder why.
probably the rent.
Mm-hmm.
It was. You know what? It was too high.
It's too damn high.
It's so sad. So true, bestie.
They gotta stop making the rent so high. Tell you that. I tell you what.
On a totally unrelated note, the Dark Tide beta dropped, and it's so much fucking fun.
Yeah.
I've heard good things.
That's what you should do as your hobby, Noah. You should play Warhammer.
You should. That's honestly, I mean,
It does have a built-in
the
community.
games,
it does have a built-in community. Yeah, you should play the
Start
tabletop game.
Start painting some miniatures.
Yeah, dude, do it. I believe.
Building community.
I don't know if I have a spare like 10 grand a year to sink into that hobby.
Nah, it's a startup cost mostly. After you get started up, it runs itself.
Yeah. No one ever spends money on miniatures after their first batch.
I wouldn't,
No, of course not.
but maybe I'm just not built the same. So, worth considering.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that there's any like good one size fits all answer or anything like that to it.
No, why don't
I
you
do.
just get better?
Fuck, man.
No,
You
just
got
play
it. That's
Warhammer.
it. Play
No, I think
Warhammer.
playing
and get
Warhammer is the
better.
one size fits all answer.
That's what I'm talking about.
No, I think hold on. I think Jackson's got something here. He's onto something.
Yeah.
The kid's got brains.
Yeah.
I will say it has been fun getting back into
Mhm.
strategy turn-based combat stuff again and auto resolving
just do
almost
it on the
everything because
table.
I don't know how to pilot my army effectively.
Some could say that your strategy is just hit the auto resolve button.
It's a good strategy sometimes.
If it ain't broke,
It ain't broke.
what is it?
Not broke, that's for sure.
Probably woke.
Ooh.
Am I right, everybody? Woo!
Do we want to end it on that?
Probably not. What a time.
A time
What a
indeed.
time to be alive. Also, what a time for Amelia to come in. Hi, Amelia. Oh, well, she left again. Bye, Amelia.
Wow, Amelia hates you? Confirmed?
I could have told
That
you
true?
that. The other day, she went and hid under the couch for me, or hid under the bed for me, and I got like full on
Wow.
heartbroken. I don't
That's
know what.
so rude.
She was in a mood about something, and she just didn't want to engage with me at all, and I got so upset.
It's probably your fault.
It's definitely something I did. I've hurt her clearly, emotionally.